In this series of videos, I am going to give you an overview on the project that I'm asking you to complete on unsolved problems in graph theory. So in the first video, I'll just give you an overview of the project, tell you some of the deadlines and what I'm expecting from you, and then I will, in the next set of videos, I will describe several topics and point out a few unsolved problems in graph theory that you might want to do your project on. All right, so let's get started with the overview. All right, so what am I asking you to do? Asking you to find an unsolved problem in graph theory, find some information on it. So this will involve doing a literature search using Google Scholar, the Helmke Library database, looking at possibly some journals. Do some of your own work on the unsolved problem. Keep in mind, you're not expected to solve the unsolved problem, but I want you to do some small cases, some very specific instances of the problem and actually do some work. This is going to help you figure out why it's an unsolved problem, why it's so difficult, and just give you an idea into the research project. That's really one of the big things I want you to get from this project is an understanding of how research in mathematics, how research in graph theory is done. And this is part of it, is just working on some small cases. Then I'll ask you to write up what you've done. So this will consist of providing some history of the unsolved problem, as well as the work that you've done on it. And you'll put this in a write-up. I do ask that this is typed. It doesn't have to be in LaTeX. It should be about 3 to 5 pages. It could be a little bit longer. Probably 3 is the shortest with all the history in it that I would expect. But it could be longer than 5 pages if you want. And then I'll also ask you to make a presentation where you'll talk about your project, what you worked on, some history behind it, sort of just present what you've done. And this presentation will just be roughly 10 to 15 minutes. So not a big presentation, just a nice little short presentation to show everyone else what you've done. I should say you are completely allowed to work in groups on this project. I would say groups no bigger than 4 people in them would be great. I encourage you to work in groups, but if you'd like to work individually, that's fine too. Please feel free to use our Discord channel to find a group of people to work with, or our class list on Brightspace. Reach out to some people to find a group. All right, so important deadlines for this. Your paper is due Monday, April 26th. Like I said, it has to be typed up, doesn't need to be in LaTeX. Should be about, roughly 3 to 7 pages in length, I said. 5 pages is probably the median for this project. If you need help at all with the technical aspects of writing it up, like incorporating, you might want to draw some graphs and put them in your paper. I can help you do that if you're struggling finding a way to incorporate graphs into your paper or your presentation. Definitely, I'm always here. You can reach out to me and I'll help you do these technical things. And then during the week of April 26th through April 30th, this is the second to last week of class, or like dead week, I'll have you present your presentation. So we'll set aside some time in class for those of you that are in-person students. You can present this in class, or for our online students, you can do this virtually in a asynchronous way via WebEx or Zoom, or if you prefer, you can pre-record your presentation and then submit it to me and I'll post it on our Brightspace page. So those are our big deadlines, are those for the paper and the presentation, but I'd like to meet with you at least twice before those sort of end deadlines. So once in a couple weeks here during the week of March 29th to discuss if you're working in a group. So if you've decided to work in a group, please meet with me during that week as a group, and you all can we can all discuss what you're going to be working on, your choice of topic, and your general plan, how you're going to divvy up the work if you're working in a group. If you want to work individually, that's fine. I still want you to meet with me so that we can talk together about what you're planning on working on and what your plan is. And then I'll ask we meet in a couple weeks after that to discuss your progress so far. So what sort of information you've gotten for the background of the topic, some of the historical stuff that goes along with the topic, prerequisite terms, things like this. What small cases that you've already worked on or plan to work on, and to see if you're running into any difficulties in either your literature search or writing up the paper or making the presentation, anything like this. So a couple weeks before the final deadline, I'd like to meet one more time just to see if there's any issues going on that need to be solved. All right, so in these next few videos, I'll do one video for each topic, and I'm just going to give you a rough introduction to a topic that we haven't encountered yet in class that contains one or more unsolved problems that you could potentially work on. I'll also remind you, so I have posted instructions and a rubric for this project on Brightspace in a new module titled, I guess I haven't titled it yet, titled Unsolved Problems in Graph Theory Project. And so I'll post everything about the project there along with any presentations that you all give. All right, I'll see you in the next video to discuss that.